A process server's knock shattered Emily Harper's Manhattan office, thrusting a custody lawsuit into her hands that unraveled her polished world. At 36, Emily was a titan at Langley & Associates. Her New York penthouse a monument to ambition. But the papers from Boulder, Colorado, bore Daniel Carter's name, her ex-husband, and their daughter, Lily, now 9. 8 years ago, Emily fled their modest home, abandoning Daniel's steady love and Lily's innocent coups for a glittering career. The lawsuit demanded she forfeit parental rights, citing her absence while Lily battled a life-threatening heart condition. Claire Thompson, Daniel's new partner, was poised to adopt Lily, erasing Emily forever. Her fingers trembled, tracing Lily's name, a relic of a life she buried. She'd built an empire on ruthless choices, but this legal summons was a reckoning, threatening to expose her deepest regret. The courtroom date loomed, a crucible where her past and present would collide. Could Emily face the daughter she'd forsaken? Or would her return ignite a firestorm, burning away any hope of forgiveness? Boulder was calling, and for the first time, Emily couldn't run. The morning sun streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows of Emily Harper's 47th floor office at Langley & Associates, casting sharp shadows across her glass desk. At 36, she was a partner. Her name etched in the firm's letterhead, her Central Park penthouse a fortress of corporate triumphs. Yet the custody lawsuit from Boulder, Colorado, delivered by a stern process server, shook her to her core. Daniel Carter, her ex-husband, sought to terminate her parental rights to their daughter, Lily, now 9, citing her abandonment in 2017. The document's cold legalese cut deep. Ms. Harper has had no contact since, demonstrating gross neglect of parental duties. Memories surged, Daniel's calloused hands repairing their porch swing, Lily's tiny fingers curling around hers during midnight feedings. She'd left them, seduced by Victor Langley's promises of New York's elite circles, trading Boulder's quiet simplicity for ambition's glittering allure. The lawsuit named Claire Thompson, Daniel's partner, as Lily's intended adoptive mother, a phrase that hit like a sledgehammer. A cryptic note mentioned Lily's serious medical condition, with details sealed for privacy. Emily's breath caught. Her daughter, last seen as a babbling toddler, was fighting for her life while Emily basked in boardroom victories and black-tie galas. The courtroom date, 3 weeks away, loomed like a guillotine, threatening to sever her last tie to Lily. Guilt, buried beneath years of ruthless deals, clawed at her chest. She'd convinced herself Lily was better off without her, that Daniel's steady love sufficed. But the word adoption burned like acid, another woman poised to claim her daughter legally and emotionally. Emily's eyes drifted to the Manhattan skyline, once a symbol of her conquest, now a hollow backdrop to her unraveling. She couldn't ignore this summons. It wasn't just a legal battle, but a mirror reflecting her deepest failure as a mother. Her fingers hovered over her phone, then dialed Tom Riley, a private investigator used for corporate espionage. "I need a full report on Daniel Carter, Boulder, Colorado," she said, her voice steady despite her racing pulse. "Employment, residence, and everything about my daughter, Lily. Absolute discretion." Riley's gruff assent offered little comfort. The lawsuit's final line, "The child's well-being is paramount," echoed in her mind. Had she ever prioritized Lily's well-being? She'd built an empire on ambition, but at what cost? Emily stood, pacing her office, the click of her designer heels echoing like a metronome. She'd fled Boulder to escape the domestic chains that bound her, but now those chains were her only tether to meaning. The courtroom loomed, a stage where her past would demand accountability, not just for her absence, but for the mother she'd failed to be. She needed answers, not only about Lily's health or Daniel's struggles, but about the woman she'd become and the family she'd forsaken. Boulder was no longer a distant memory. It was a destination she could not avoid, a confrontation with truths she'd buried beneath years of success. 8 years ago, Emily Harper stood in the dim kitchen of their Boulder cottage, the air heavy with sawdust from Daniel's carpentry tools and the sour tang of Lily's spilled milk. At 28, her Harvard law degree gathered dust while she juggled motherhood and a junior role at a local firm. Daniel Carter, a carpenter with a quiet strength, returned each evening, his flannel shirt stained with wood polish, ready to soothe 1-year-old Lily's cries. "Rough day, Em?" he'd ask, scooping Lily into his arms, her giggles filling the cramped space. But Emily wasn't smiling. The endless cycle of diapers, bills, and Daniel's modest dreams of expanding his workshop suffocated her ambitions. She'd snap, "We can't afford a babysitter, Dan. What's the point of dreaming?" Her resentment grew, poisoning their quiet moments, turning Daniel's gentle love into a mirror of her own inadequacy. She'd met Daniel at a Boulder cafe during law school, drawn to his sincerity, his hands calloused from crafting furniture. They married young, Lily arriving soon after. But domesticity choked Emily's aspirations. She craved more than Boulder's small-town rhythm, more than Daniel's steady but limited world. Then came Victor Langley, a corporate titan and client at her firm. His Bentley gleamed in Boulder's dusty streets, his tailored suits a stark contrast to Daniel's work boots. Assigned to his merger case, Emily felt alive under his gaze. "You're wasting your brilliance here," Victor whispered during a late-night strategy session, his hand brushing hers. He painted a life of New York boardrooms, six-figure salaries, and global influence. Emily, drowning in Lily's cries and Daniel's contentment, clung to his promises like a lifeline. The morning she left replayed with brutal clarity. Daniel kissed her goodbye before his early shift, unaware, murmuring, "Love you, Em. We're lucky to have you." She waited until his truck rumbled away, then moved like a woman possessed. One suitcase, her law degree, Lily's birth certificate, for records, she told herself. Lily slept in her crib, her tiny chest rising, unaware her mother was fleeing. Emily's note was brief, scrawled with shaking hands. "I can't be the wife or mother you need. Don't follow me." She stood in the doorway, watching Lily's peaceful face, the urge to take her overwhelming. But Victor's offer was clear, a fresh start, no baggage. So Emily walked away, convincing herself it was best for everyone. Now, in her Manhattan office, the custody lawsuit ripped open those wounds. Victor's charm had faded, revealed as manipulation, leaving Emily with wealth but no warmth. She traded a family's love for a hollow empire, and the lawsuit was her reckoning. Her fingers traced Lily's name on the papers, the weight of 8 lost years crushing her resolve. She'd fled to become someone extraordinary, but at what cost? Boulder's memories, once buried, now demanded she confront the mother she'd never been. Emily's Manhattan office felt claustrophobic as she tore open the private investigator's manila envelope, delivered within 48 hours. The report detailed Daniel Carter's life with clinical precision, age 35, owner of Carter Woodworks, a small carpentry business in Boulder. Residing at 217 Aspen Lane, the same cottage where they'd brought Lily home from the hospital. He'd never moved, turning their fleeting home into a permanent haven for their daughter. But the next section stopped her heart. Medical records for Lily Carter, age 9, diagnosed with congenital heart disease in 2022. Bills from Boulder Community Hospital and Children's Hospital Colorado totaled $150,000, with $40,000 still unpaid. Daniel worked 2 jobs, his workshop by day, weekend shifts at a lumberyard, to cover a grueling payment plan. Emily's mind raced, her breath shallow. Her daughter, once a healthy toddler, had faced life-threatening surgeries while Emily dined at Michelin-starred restaurants in Manhattan. The report noted Claire Thompson, a pediatric surgeon, as Daniel's partner, described as pivotal in Lily's recovery. A sealed note hinted at Claire's emotional role, suggesting she'd become Lily's anchor during multiple hospitalizations. Emily's $300,000 salary felt trivial against Daniel's crushing burden. She pictured him, once fretting over a $20 dinner, now drowning in debt to save their daughter. The investigator included a grainy photo. Daniel, graying prematurely, unloading lumber under a harsh sun. Lily, small for her age, clutching a worn stuffed bear, her face pale but smiling faintly. Emily's throat tightened, tears threatening to spill. She'd abandoned a thriving child. Now Lily was fragile, and Daniel was breaking under the weight of her survival. She dialed Tom Riley again, her voice tight with urgency. "I need more on Claire Thompson, her role in Lily's life, her relationship with Daniel." "Everything, Tom." Riley's grunt of agreement did little to ease her growing dread. Hanging up, she stared at the photo, guilt gnawing like a blade. She'd built a life of luxury, attending charity auctions while Daniel fought for Lily's life. The report listed Claire's hospital shifts, her presence during Lily's surgeries, her name on Lily's school emergency contacts. Emily's absence had left a void that Claire had filled, not just as a doctor but as a mother. The realization crushed her. Lily had someone who showed up, while Emily had only regrets to offer. Pacing her office, Emily's eyes caught the lawsuit on her desk. The courtroom was 2 weeks away. But this report was its own verdict. She'd failed her daughter long before any judge could rule. She needed to see Boulder, to witness the family she'd left behind. The Manhattan skyline. Once her trophy, now mocked her isolation. She booked a flight to Denver. Her hands trembling as she packed a carry-on with clothes that marked her as an outsider, designer pieces unfit for Boulder's earthy streets. Boulder wasn't just a destination. It was a confrontation with the life she'd forsaken, a reckoning with the mother she'd failed to be and the daughter she'd lost. Emily's flight to Denver felt endless. The custody lawsuit a lead weight in her carry-on. Boulder's rugged skyline, flatirons piercing a crisp autumn sky, stirred a bittersweet ache as she navigated her rental car down Pearl Street's familiar storefronts. At 217 Aspen Lane, the cottage stood unchanged. Daniel's hand-carved porch swing swayed gently, a painful relic of Lily's newborn days when Emily rocked her to sleep under starlit skies. Her courage faltered. She couldn't face knocking, couldn't bear seeing Daniel's face harden at her return. Instead, she drove 2 blocks to Margaret Evans' house, their former neighbor who'd once brought casseroles after Lily's birth. Margaret, now 50, answered with a guarded stare, her graying hair pulled tight in a bun. "Emily Harper," she said flatly, using Emily's maiden name like an accusation. "What do you want after all this time?" Emily swallowed hard, her tailored coat stark against Margaret's modest porch. "I need to know about Daniel and Lily. The lawsuit. I didn't know about her illness." Margaret's eyes narrowed, assessing Emily's sincerity through years of absence. "You heard about Lily's heart. Then, congenital defect, diagnosed 2 years ago. She nearly died, Emily. Collapsed at school, rushed to surgery. Daniel's been through hell, sold his truck, works himself ragged to pay the bills." Emily's knees buckled, her hand gripping the porch rail to steady herself. "What happened to her?" she whispered, voice breaking. Margaret sighed, her anger softening to pity. "Lily needed a valve replacement. Claire Thompson, her surgeon, saved her life. She's been with them ever since, practically family now." The word family hit Emily like a physical blow. Claire wasn't just a doctor, she was Lily's mother in every way that mattered. Margaret's voice hardened, her eyes piercing. "Daniel's finally healing, Emily. Don't show up at their door and break them again." Emily nodded, tears stinging her eyes, and drove away, parking near Boulder Creek's rushing waters. The lawsuit felt futile now. Lily had a mother who'd fought for her survival, while Emily had fled for ambition. She'd left a healthy toddler, convinced her absence was a gift to them. Now, Lily was a survivor. And Claire was her savior. The courtroom was 10 days away, but this truth cut deeper. Emily was a stranger to her own daughter. She checked into a Boulder hotel. The mountains outside her window a stark contrast to Manhattan's steel spires. Margaret's warning echoed, "Don't disrupt their healing." But Emily couldn't leave, not yet. She needed to see Lily, to understand the life she'd abandoned and the woman who'd replaced her. The next morning, she drove to Lincoln Elementary, parking across the street, her heart pounding as she waited for dismissal. When Lily emerged, small but vibrant with dark curls, Emily's breath caught in her throat. Claire was there, and the sight of them together would change everything. Emily wasn't just facing a legal battle. She was confronting the mother she'd never been and the family that had rebuilt itself without her. Emily became a shadow in Boulder, haunting the edges of her daughter's life, her rental car a silent refuge. From across Lincoln Elementary, she watched Lily, now 9, skip out at dismissal, her dark curls bouncing with newfound energy. Claire Thompson, in navy scrubs, knelt to check Lily's pulse, her gentle smile easing Lily's excited chatter about a school art project. Emily's chest tightened. Claire's care was instinctive. Maternal, everything Emily's rushed, resentful parenting had lacked. At Flatiron Park, Emily lingered on a bench, sunglasses hiding her tears as Claire pushed Lily on swings, monitoring her energy with subtle, practiced glances. "5 more minutes, sweetie," Claire said, tucking Lily's scarf tighter against the autumn chill. Daniel joined them, his tired frame softened by pride as he kissed Claire's forehead, their ease a testament to a bond forged in the crucible of crisis. Emily followed them to Boulder Community Hospital for Lily's weekly checkup, lingering outside a window like a ghost. Claire, off duty, held Lily's hand during a blood draw, making silly faces to distract her. Lily clutched her stuffed bear, laughing, her trust in Claire absolute. Emily's own memories, snapping at Lily's cries. Counting minutes until Daniel took over, felt like a betrayal. At the grocery store, Claire let Lily choose apples, teaching her to check for firmness with a patience Emily had never mustered. Daniel trailed behind, their cart filled with love, not obligation. Each moment was a dagger, revealing the depth of the family Emily had forsaken for ambition. One evening, Emily parked near Aspen Lane, watching through the cottage's window as Claire helped Lily with homework at the kitchen table, celebrating correct answers with high fives. Daniel arrived, grease-stained from his workshop, and Lily ran to him, showing off a drawing of a rainbow. Claire started dinner, their laughter filling the home Emily had fled. The scene was everything she'd once dismissed as mundane, now radiant with meaning she'd been too young to see. Emily drove back to her hotel, sobs racking her body. Lily had a mother who showed up, who knew her fears and joys, while Emily had only regrets to offer. The custody hearing was a week away, but these stolen glimpses were a harsher judgment than any courtroom could deliver. Claire wasn't just filling Emily's role, she was surpassing it, her love woven into every facet of Lily's daily life. Emily's absence had left a void, but Claire's presence had healed it completely. She thought of her own harried parenting, her impatience poisoning sweet moments with Lily. The radiant smile Lily once directed at her now belonged to Claire. Emily clutched the investigator's photo of Lily, her small face a painful reminder of what she'd lost. The courtroom might decide her legal rights, but these moments proved she'd lost her daughter long ago. Still, she couldn't leave, not until she tried to make amends, even if it meant facing Daniel's wrath and Claire's pity. Emily couldn't erase 8 years of absence, but she could try to lighten Daniel's burden. In her Boulder hotel, she contacted Laura Bennett, a Denver attorney specializing in medical debt relief, to anonymously settle Lily's $40,000 hospital bills. Create a shell charity, the Colorado Kids Fund, Emily instructed, her voice firm as she wired $50,000 from her savings. No trace to me. Make it look like a legitimate grant. For the first time since arriving, Emily felt a flicker of hope. She couldn't reclaim Lily, but she could ease the financial strain crushing Daniel, a silent apology for the years she'd been absent. She imagined him free to focus on Lily's laughter, not debt collectors. And it felt like a small step toward atonement, a way to right her wrongs without disrupting their lives. 3 days later, Bennett called, her voice tense with unease. Daniel traced the payment to you, Emily. He's in my office, furious, and demands to speak. Emily's stomach dropped, her hope crumbling. Before she could respond, Daniel's voice roared through the receiver, raw with rage. You think money fixes this, Emily? Where were you when Lily stopped breathing in the ER? When I sold my tools to pay for her surgery? Tears streamed down Emily's face, her voice breaking. I didn't know she was sick, Daniel. I'm so sorry. His laugh was bitter, cutting like a blade. You didn't want to know. You chose your fancy life over our daughter. Claire was there, holding her hand through every needle, not you. Keep your blood money. We don't need it. The line went silent, then Bennett returned, her tone apologetic. He's returning the funds, Emily. He wants no connection to you, not even a penny. Emily stared at her hotel window, Boulder's mountains blurring through her tears. Her wealth, the one thing she thought could help, was poison to them. Even this gesture, her attempt to right a wrong, was rejected as an insult to their struggle. The custody hearing was days away, but Daniel's words were a verdict of their own. She was an outsider, her atonement unwanted. She'd hoped to help from the shadows, but Daniel's fury exposed her delusion. Lily didn't need her money, just as she didn't need her mother. Emily paced her room, the lawsuit on her nightstand a mocking reminder of her failure. She'd built a life on ambition, but it couldn't buy forgiveness or erase the pain she'd caused. Margaret's warning echoed, don't break them again, but Emily couldn't leave, not yet. The courtroom loomed, offering a chance to plead her case, but Daniel's rejection made her question her place in their lives. She needed to see Lily one more time, to face the family she'd lost. Even if it meant public humiliation, the idea of confronting them terrified her, but silence was no longer an option. She had to try, even if it shattered what little hope she had left. The Boulder County Courthouse loomed, its stone facade amplifying Emily's dread as she entered the custody hearing. Daniel sat with Claire, their hands clasped tightly, a united front. Lily, fragile in a blue dress, fidgeted beside them, her small hands clutching a stuffed bear. Emily's attorney, a sharp Denver litigator, had warned her the judge would hear Lily's testimony, and her 8 years of absence would weigh heavily. Emily's tailored suit felt like armor, but her heart pounded as the proceedings began. Daniel's lawyer, a stern woman with a clipped tone, outlined Emily's abandonment with surgical precision, presenting medical records, hospital bills, and Claire's pivotal role in Lily's survival. Ms. Harper left her family in 2017. With no contact since, she stated. Ms. Thompson has been Lily's primary caregiver, a mother in all but name. Emily's throat tightened, each word a lash against her conscience. When Lily took the stand, her small voice trembled, her eyes avoiding Emily's. I don't know that lady, she said, pointing at Emily, her voice barely above a whisper. She scares me. Claire's my mom. She was there when my heart hurt. The words gutted Emily, her polished facade crumbling as tears welled. She stood, against her attorney's frantic gestures, her voice breaking. Lily, I'm your mother. I made terrible mistakes, but I love you. I've changed. The judge banged her gavel, silencing her outburst, but Lily's tears and Claire's protective arm around her spoke louder. Daniel's eyes burned with fury, Claire's softened with quiet pity. The courtroom silence was suffocating, the weight of 8 years pressing down on Emily's chest. The judge adjourned for deliberation, but Emily felt the verdict in Lily's fear, in Daniel's clenched jaw, in the room's collective judgment. Outside, Margaret Evans approached, her face soft but firm. You can't force your way back, Emily. Lily's happy with Claire and Daniel. Let them be. Emily nodded, tears falling. But the courtroom had exposed her irrelevance. Lily didn't need her, didn't even know her. The hearing wasn't over, but this moment was a death knell for her hopes. She'd come to Boulder seeking redemption, but Lily's testimony revealed a truth harsher than any judicial ruling. She was a stranger, her motherhood erased by absence. Emily stumbled to her car, the mountains mocking her isolation. The judge's decision was days away, but Lily's words, she scares me, replayed endlessly, each syllable a wound. A community fundraiser for Lily's recovery was scheduled for tomorrow, a public event where Emily could plead her case one last time. It was reckless, desperate, but silence meant surrender. She needed to face Daniel and Claire, to beg for a chance, even if it meant risking everything in front of Boulder's tight-knit community. The Boulder Community Center glowed with fairy lights, packed with families celebrating Lily's recovery at a fundraiser. Emily slipped in uninvited, her designer coat stark against the crowd's flannel and denim, marking her as an outsider. On stage, Lily stood between Claire and Daniel, her small hands clutching a microphone as she thanked donors with a shy smile. Claire's speech followed, heartfelt and humble, praising Daniel's resilience and Lily's courage through her heart surgeries. The crowd applauded, their warmth a testament to the family's place in Boulder's heart. Emily's pulse raced. This was her last chance to be heard. As the applause faded, she stepped forward, her voice trembling but clear across the room. I'm Lily's mother. I left 8 years ago, but I've changed. Please, let me be part of her life. Gasps rippled through the room, heads turning in shock. Lily froze, her eyes wide with fear, then ran to Claire, sobbing, make her go away. I don't know her. Claire knelt, shielding Lily with her body, her gaze fierce and protective. You're upsetting her, Emily. Leave, now. Daniel's face was stone, his voice low and deadly. You don't belong here. You never did. Margaret Evans and other neighbors rose, forming a human barrier, their faces a mix of pity and judgment. Emily's sobs echoed, her desperation spilling out. I love her, Daniel. I was wrong, but I'm here now. Please, give me a chance. Her voice cracked, pleading for a forgiveness she knew she didn't deserve. The crowd's murmurs grew hostile, parents shielding their children from the scene. Lily's cries pierced Emily's heart, her daughter's rejection a blade sharper than any courtroom ruling. I'm your mother, Lily, Emily sobbed, tears streaming down her face. I came back for you. But Lily buried her face in Claire's shoulder, whispering, Claire's my mom. Daniel stepped forward, his voice cutting through the chaos. You left us, Emily. Claire saved Lily's life. You're nothing to her. The words shattered Emily, her knees buckling as she stumbled backward. Margaret guided her toward the exit, her voice gentle but firm. Go. Emily, you're only hurting her. Outside, the cold bit Emily's skin, the fundraiser's laughter and music mocking her defeat. She'd bared her soul. But Lily's fear, her own daughter calling her a stranger, proved her irreparable loss. The judge's ruling was days away, but this public humiliation was final. Emily had hoped to reclaim a piece of her family, but Claire and Daniel were Lily's world, their bond forged in hospital rooms and daily devotion. She drove to her hotel, the mountains looming like sentinels of her failure, knowing she'd lost Lily forever. The fundraiser's aftermath left Emily hollow, Lily's rejection, make her go away, echoing like a death knell in her mind. She wandered Boulder's streets, her designer heels blistering her feet, the mountains a silent witness to her unraveling. Lily's fear, Claire's protective embrace, and Daniel's finality exposed Emily's delusion. She couldn't undo 8 years of absence, but she could stop running from her guilt. At dawn, she drove to Boulder Community Hospital, where Lily had fought for her life, meeting the volunteer coordinator, a kind woman with tired eyes. Emily offered her legal expertise to help families navigate medical debt. No recognition, she insisted, her voice steady with resolve. Just let me help. The coordinator agreed. And Emily began drafting pro bono contracts for parents drowning in bills, her Harvard training now serving those she'd once ignored. Days turned to weeks as Emily worked late, her Manhattan polish replaced by practical slacks and a purpose she'd never known. She saw Claire once, carrying charts in the hospital corridor, and ducked away, honoring Daniel's boundaries. At night, she moved into a modest Boulder apartment, selling her New York penthouse, its luxury a hollow reminder of her mistakes. She joined a legal aid clinic, taking low-paying cases for single parents, her credentials now a tool for others' survival. From afar, she learned Lily's heart was growing stronger, her laughter brighter at park outings with Claire and Daniel. Emily's atonement wasn't about reclaiming Lily, but mirroring Claire's selflessness, easing others' burdens as Claire had done for her daughter. One evening, Emily found a fundraiser photo in the Boulder Daily Camera, Lily beaming between Claire and Daniel, their engagement announced. She clipped it, keeping it on her desk as a reminder of her purpose. Her work at the clinic expanded, counseling young mothers with a tenderness born of her own regrets. She saw parallels, her impatience with Lily, her failure to show up. Now, she listened, advised, and fought for others' families, finding meaning in their gratitude. Emily's sacrifice was quiet. Anonymous, a love expressed through action, not possession. She avoided Aspen Lane, respecting Lily's peace, but carried her daughter's image in her heart, a bittersweet anchor. Her new life wasn't redemption, but it was honest. Emily had lost Lily, but in serving others, she found a way to love her daughter from the shadows. The courtroom's ruling was coming, but it no longer defined her. She'd failed as a mother, but she could succeed as a human, giving to others what she couldn't give Lily. Spring warmed Boulder, painting Flatiron Park in vibrant greens. And Emily settled into a quiet rhythm, a silent observer of her daughter's joy. From a park bench, she watched Lily, now 10, race across the grass, her heart condition a fading shadow of the past. Claire pushed her on swings, Daniel cheering, their engagement celebrated in Boulder's tight-knit community through notices in the local paper. Emily's days were filled with legal aid work at a small clinic, her sparse apartment a far cry from Manhattan's opulence. She'd sold her New York assets, funneling the proceeds into the clinic, helping families like Daniel's navigate medical and legal mazes. The custody ruling had arrived weeks ago, Emily's parental rights terminated, Claire's adoption of Lily pending. The news stung. A final severance, but Emily accepted it. Lily deserved the stability Claire provided. She avoided Aspen Lane, honoring Daniel's demand to stay away, but overheard Margaret at a cafe. Lily calls Claire mom now. They're planning a small wedding. Emily smiled through tears, proud of Lily's healing, even if it excluded her. At the clinic, she counseled a young mother facing eviction, her own regrets sharpening her empathy. One evening, she attended Lily's school play from the back row, unseen. Lily, radiant as a tree sprite in a green costume, glowed under Claire and Daniel's applause. Emily's heart swelled, not with pain but with a quiet peace. She'd lost her daughter but gained a purpose. Loving Lily through absence, her work became her sanctuary, each case a chance to atone. She helped a single father secure debt relief, his gratitude echoing the love she'd failed to give Lily. Boulder's community, once judgmental, began to respect her quiet contributions, though she never sought recognition. She kept Lily's fundraiser photo on her desk, a reminder of the family she'd lost and the woman she was becoming. Emily no longer dreamed of reclaiming Lily. She dreamed of her daughter's happiness, fully secure in Claire and Daniel's care. One Sunday, she walked through Flatiron Park, pausing as Lily's laughter carried across the field. Claire was teaching her to braid daisies into a crown, Daniel snapping photos. Their bond was unbreakable, a family forged in love and sacrifice. Emily turned away, her steps lighter than before. She'd come to Boulder seeking forgiveness, but found something deeper: acceptance. Her new life wasn't about erasing the past, but building a future where her mistakes fueled good. Lily was thriving, and that was enough. Emily Harper's journey lays bare a searing truth. Love is not a title earned by biology or reclaimed through desperate gestures, but a commitment proven through daily presence, especially in life's darkest moments. Her ambition built a glittering New York empire, but abandoning Lily and Daniel left a wound no wealth could heal. Claire's steadfast care, through surgeries, sleepless nights, and joyful routines, showed that motherhood is forged in sacrifice, not entitlement. Emily's return, though heartfelt, couldn't erase 8 years. Lily's rejection and Daniel's fury proved some choices are irreversible. Yet, her transformation, volunteering, serving others, loving from afar, reveals that regret can fuel growth. Emily's atonement wasn't in reclaiming Lily, but in helping others, turning personal failure into communal good. Her story challenges us to prioritize relationships over fleeting ambitions, to cherish the mundane moments that build unbreakable bonds. Call to action: pause today and consider the people you hold dear. Are you truly present or distracted by goals that may fade? Reach out, call a loved one, share a quiet moment, listen with your whole heart. Show up consistently, especially when it's hard, because love is built in the small, steady acts. Don't wait for a crisis to realize what matters. Act now, before time turns your choices into regrets.